Welcome to Josh's Green Garage. Do you want to use your mower deck and your rear three-point hitch at the same time? Maybe not using them at the exact same time doing the same task, but maybe you want to have something on the three-point that you're using every once in a while. You don't want to take it off, but you still want to be able to mow. And you're not quite sure if there's a quick and easy way to swap between the two. Are you running into this problem? This is essentially going to be a video that is going to kind of supplement the controls video for the X700 that I have. I'm basically going to show how easy it is to just switch from lifting only the mower deck to only the three-point, to where you could have your mower deck attached all the time if you still want to do something with a three-point. So say you have a sprayer that you want to lower for some reason. I'm not quite sure. I don't have a sprayer, so I haven't really dealt with it too much. But if you have a rear implement, maybe a dethatcher or something that you want to put on there and just leave on, whatever the case may be, I'm going to show you how to easily switch between the two. Let's get into it. So I'm first going to give a quick kind of overview of why this situation happens, where you have the three-point and the mower deck lifting and lowering at the same time, for those of you who don't know. So with the hydraulic setups on these tractors, you might hear terms such as H2, H3, things like that, a different number of functions. So these tractors are an H2 tractor, meaning you can have two circuits running. So there is a hydraulic cylinder and it's attached here at the back end. You can see it back there. But this hydraulic cylinder is ran. This is one of the functions. And then you have an SCV, stands for selective control valve, up at the front corner of the tractor, behind the front wheel. That has two sets of outlets on it. Each of those controlled by one of the two levers, and essentially this cylinder is also plumbed into one of the circuits up front. So even though you have something going on back here, something mid-mount, and then those two outlets, it's still only an H2, a two-function machine. I even have a set of auxiliary ports at the back here. That's not an extra SCV, it's just an extension of outlets essentially. So that circuit is going to be run off the lower lever, that function. So you really only have two functions. The three-point here at the back and then up front for the mower deck, it's all ran off the hydraulic cylinder that's integrated into the tractor at the back here. With the three-point hitch kit, it gets flipped around, and essentially the actuating rod that comes in and out of the cylinder is connected to the rock shaft here at the back for the three-point. If you see this little piece of metal right here, this is a strap that goes up essentially to the rock shaft that lifts and lowers the mower deck. So when you actuate this cylinder, it actuates this rock shaft, and since it's tied into the mid-mount rock shaft, it actuates the mid-mount. So that's why you have that up and down that you have. So a lot of people ask the question like, well, how can I use the three-point with the deck on, or can I keep one of them from going down? Like, what's the deal with this hydraulic diverter valve, things like that. So I'm going to try to go over this here and try to make it make sense to anyone who's trying to understand this and how all of this works. I'm going to get this camera moved around, figure out how I best want to show this, and we'll get into it. So as many may know, with these John Deere lawn and garden tractors, this is really common for most of the newer tractors. The 100 series might be a little different, but I want to say pretty much all of the higher end John Deere lawn and garden tractors are going to have a knob like this that lets you select the mower deck lift height. So here is at 2.5, but essentially you can use this to hold the mower deck, not all the way up, but you can use it to hold the deck most of the way up or let it go down. So say you want to have your mower deck on, but you want to use your 3-point at the time and you don't want to take your mower deck off. All you got to do is rotate this around so that that arrow is pointing at the highest selection here, which if you were to number it would probably be 5 or so. I don't know. The way these are numbered, it's a little bit weird. But you'd be looking around, I don't know, 4.5, 5, whatever it is. You need to make sure you have the deck lifted all the way as high as it'll go before you move that all the way around to that position. Once you lower it or move it to that position, you can then, as long as you have your depth stop completely loosened or whatever on the 3-point, yeah, it would be loosened. You need it to go back. If it's tightened, it's going to lock it to a certain point. But if that is completely loosened, this is locked up, you're now only going to let the deck drop to a certain point. So it's not going to lower all the way to the ground. You can see here. And you can see how, the deck is moving very little, and the 3-point, you're able to have full control, up and down of that, however it may be. I mean, that's really the best you're going to get. Unfortunately, you're going to have some movement there. That's just the way these tractors are designed. The size that they are, it's hard to put, extra cylinders, extra functions in there to do all this different stuff. Like, you really need, a bigger tractor with more room for more cylinders and all that type of stuff. So you get a lot with these, but unfortunately that's the best they're going to be able to do for you. So that is keeping this up. Now, what happens if you want to use your mower deck? You don't want the 3-point to move. Maybe you have an attachment on there that's just, to carry garden tools or something like that, and you want to keep that on there with you. How do we do that? So you're going to lift your deck all the way up, and then you're just going to move this to whatever selection for cutting grass you want it. Me, I like it at the 2.5. I have it set so it actually cuts 2.5 inches. Say you like 3, it may not be exactly 3. You'll need to adjust your decks so that the blades are at 3 inches if you want it to actually cut 3, because it may or may not be correct. But enough of that. We're going to move to the back, and I'll show you what you got to do with the 3-point. Okay, we have the deck set at the height that we want to cut, and now we need to stop our 3-point hitch from moving. So at the back here on the 3-point hitch, you have this long bolt-looking piece, and there's this spring clip through it. Some older tractors actually have a nice plastic knob on there. This newer hitch doesn't. Doesn't really matter. I kind of like this because I'm going to show you a little hack that I've showed before that works really well to actuate this really quickly. So this is the depth stop, and essentially wherever you put this hitch, if you tighten this all the way, it's not going to lower the hitch any more than what it's currently set at. So right now I have the hitch locked at the full up position, and you might be able to see just behind this cylinder right here, there's that silver piece right up in there. That's a giant square nut, and that tightens against this cylinder. So if you want to be able to lower your hitch, you need to completely loosen that. It sends that square nut all the way back, and then the hitch can come down. So right now it's already in the pinned up position. So if I were to start the mower and actuate the hydraulic system by the levers up on the dash, you're going to get no movement. Well, you'll get very little movement here, and then the mower deck will do its thing like this. So this is the little hack I was talking about in order to adjust that depth stop really quickly. I've showed this before. I saw this hack somewhere, not sure where I saw it. Maybe I just read about it, but I figured I'd try it out. So this is a DeWalt gyroscopic screwdriver, and I just have a, what is this, 1/4 inch socket attachment on there. Or no, that's 3/8, sorry. Have that socket attachment on there, and then this is just an old 15mm socket that I wasn't using very much, and I just ground some little notches in there, and they're enough to fit around that roll pin. It works really well. All you got to do is come in there, hold the trigger down, and then you just turn it with your wrist whichever way you want to go. Makes it really easy. I literally bought this tool specifically for this hitch. I can't remember how much this thing cost, but it was well worth it, to say the least. I've gotten plenty of use out of it, you know, switching between implements and doing different things. It's really, really handy to have, and it beats the snot out of having to manually twist that depth stop all the way. I tried it once and it was like, yeah, I'm not doing that again. So definitely recommend this if you're going to be switching between using your mid and rear lift. You can see here, that's how it kind of engages. It just sets on that roll pin, and you could just kind of twist it and it'll do its thing. There's weight on it right now, so it's not going to move. So now that you know how all of the, well, I shouldn't say all, how these two functions work and how the controls for them work, hopefully you can see how quick it can be and how easy it really is to go from using the mower deck to the 3-point and back. Check this out, it only takes just a few seconds. And that's it. It's really easy. It's not all that complicated. It can get a little confusing at times, you know, trying to remember, okay, which way does that square nut have to be for the 3-point in order to lock it up or down, whatever. The mower deck control, that one's actually really easy. It's nicely labeled. The 3-point hitch is a little more archaic. There's no nice labeling or anything like that. As for the diverter valve, you don't need to worry about that for the hitch or for the mower deck. The only reason that diverter valve there is if you have the front plow so that you can get the side-to-side angling. That's gonna limit the amount of flow that goes to the cylinder that works these functions. So if you're trying to use the plow blade and the 3-point, that's gonna be a lot more complicated to do. You're talking about having to unhook, you know, your circuits up front in order to get your full control of the 3-point. That's a bit more of a mess, but these two, fairly easy all in all. So hopefully if you had any question about this or anything like that, you found your answer. I wanna say I had a comment about this, so I think this video is kind of a viewer request. So if you asked for this video, appreciate you asking for it. Hopefully this answers whatever question you may have. Hopefully you have your information. If there's still any questions or anything like that out there, please, as always, give me a question, comment, email, whatever that may be, and I'll definitely get back. Other than that, that's all I got. Have a good one.